Well, if you're going to use AI to help with your script writing, might as well go all in. Let's make some concept art and a pitch deck with AI. Let's go. Hey, how's it going? Anthony Fro here at Create Sci-Fi. Back in the office because we're writing. We're writing with AI. We're creating with AI. It's been very exciting. To all the people who always miss the build videos when I go sort of down the rabbit hole with this stuff, because all my props and costumes and everything I share on this channel is always practical. It's always based on a end result of some sort of film that I'm creating. Once in a while, we got to go through these videos to sort of front load what it is we're making, and then we can backtrack and show all that stuff. And AI, it's pretty exciting right now. So in the last video, I was coming up with scripts and log lines and all that sort of thing. I have a basic outline, and then I have a character breakdown. And then when I talk about ships or creatures, I do all of the work in tandem with AI to create that, right? So I have that information. Because this is a video about art, let's make a pitch deck, right? So there's plenty of videos about Midjourney, and Midjourney is what we're going to be using today. You can find plenty of videos on how to use Midjourney. So that's not what our video here is going to be about. So what we're talking about is creating AI art to make a pitch deck, which is going to support and inspire and influence and inform our short film project. So we sign up for Midjourney, and we're going to create some concept art for a pitch deck based on the AI assisted script that we just wrote, right? Have some coffee. And then we're gonna dig in. All right, so then we're in Midjourney. And you'll see there's a lot going on here. What I found with Midjourney is, like the chat GPT, it's all about the prompts, right? So here's some basic prompts that I use a lot. You can really go down the rabbit hole with the prompts of hyper-realism and real engine simulations and different terminology for lighting and different terminology for, you know, ray tracing rendering, and you'll make sense of that or see what works for you. But for this, what I was excited about is, you know, so we have like our characters, right? So our main character is like an older gentleman. I have Captain Thiago, right? That's my main guy. So Captain Thiago, 60s, rugged good looks, weathered appearance. He's got a swagger, highly skilled. He's a curmudgeon. Let's see what he looks like. So Midjourney, we're gonna go on Midjourney. And again, these are gonna be images for our pitch deck, right? And then I'll discuss making a pitch deck after we gather some images. So we're gonna need, imagine old man in space, ship. To me, he's sort of like, he's a hunter out in space, but I don't know, that's a little too general. So in my mind, he'll look like a mechanic. So we'll say mechanic, all right? So old man, spaceship, mechanic, and then like dramatic lighting. And then here's the prompts that I use kind of a lot. So I figured I'd put some of these. In the style of is one we'll get to. But Ultra HD, 4K, and then this is a big one. Aspect ratio 16:9. Otherwise, it'll give it to you square. Hyper realistic is another good one. Highly detailed. And I have prompts, right, that you sort of start to collect them, right? And you can see, like, you could go like that's crazy. But for this, let's just get our main key art of our character. We'll say hyper realistic, Ultra HD, 4K, sure. And then let's say, to sort of set a mood, let's say drinking a beer. And then aspect ratio 16:9. And again, I want to get these images as part of like creating a deck and sort of a plan for making our short film. So, you know, I am blowing through Midjourney, but I think there's more detailed videos on how to do that. I just want to sort of give you an overview and show you how I incorporate all this stuff into my project, and hopefully that'll help you wade through all this information that's out there now. So let's see what we get from that picture. And, you know, I'll edit this down. This definitely depends on how busy the server is. You'll get your image, and then you'll see if you don't like it, you can ask it to do it again. You can remix. So I'll cut to once we have the image up. Insert sound effect of microwave ding. All right, so let's see what we got. So this is pretty good, right? It's got a little attitude, a little swagger. I'm thinking this one. So you have 4 options, and for some reason it didn't come out 16:9. So proof that I'm just learning this, but I put in the aspect ratio, I didn't get it. We'll figure that out. So you have 4 images. I look at them, I'm like, I think number 1 is sort of giving me the vibe that I like, right? So we go and we tell it, we're gonna upscale number 1. Maybe that'll be the cover of our deck. But let's do, and then V is like, let's do a variation of number 1, see what that gets us. But also, not sure why I didn't get that aspect ratio. So let's try again. Imagine, prompt, old man, space, mechanic, dramatic lighting, drinking a beer. So let's add lonely, who knows. And then the aspect ratio, 16:9. And then here you see we have our variations. And for what I'm imagining, I like 2 and 3. 3 looks a little more defeated, so maybe I'll upscale 3. And now I'm getting the 16:9. So it's just sort of, it's helping you to bring it to life. And then also what I found, especially with science fiction, fantasy, when you're trying to communicate to a cast and crew, it really helps to have the images, right? So now I have sort of like, that's the key art of the guy, that's a cool image. And also what that does is it informs me, it helps me to think about, you know, actors that I know that I worked with, like who would be good for that role. And it starts to sort of get everything going and moving forward. And it's just, you know, if I can be frank, you start to get more excited about something becoming a reality. We save that, and then what I do is I'll save the image, and what I'll do is I'll create a folder, a bucket, and start putting images in there so I can create my deck, right? So let's see what we got with the 16, right? So this is better. This is more, this will suit my deck, right? So actually, this one is really good. That one's okay. I really like that number 1. So I'm gonna upscale 1, and then that'll kind of be like, because it's a one-man film, that'll kind of introduce our character, set it up so people are like, oh, this guy, and then it helps me and people involved to sort of get more tuned in. So now we can move on to the supporting characters, we can move on to the ship, we can start to put our written word into visuals. So the creature that he's hunting, in my mind, it was in space, and it was kind of like a jellyfish, and sort of like, you know, like those Avatar colors and something bioluminescent and iridescent. And then I consulted with a visual effects person, and it's like, well, that would be very difficult to do on a budget. So I started thinking, and this is another powerful thing about using AI art. I was like, okay, so I was like, oh, what about like if we based it on a giant manta ray, right? So it's like, right? So this, I did the work based on the description that I had written with chat, based on the conversation I had with the special effects artist, and then based on watching videos about good prompts for Midjourney. But let's see if we can get our creature. All right, now while that's cooking in the background, we can go ahead and we got to know what our spaceship looks like, right? So imagine beat up, weathered, small spaceship. looks like a fishing boat. Ultra HD, hyper real. And then our aspect ratio. So let's get the ship cooking while we're waiting for our creature. All right, microwave ding. And we have our creature. I kind of like number 1. Looks like a manta, but it's not like exactly one. Although this one's pretty good too. Let's do a variation of 1 and 2, and then we'll upscale 1. And let's see if our ship is cooking. Now we have our ship. Ships are always exciting. Microwave. Pretty cool. We'll go with number 2 for the purposes of our deck. That looks pretty good. Or there's our ship. And then I'll go through and do the supporting characters. There's Captain Montgomery, Red. And then you might want, for concept, you know, maybe the person working or sort of the interior of the ship. In my mind, he works at a very old, very cluttered, like, you know, you ever go into like a muffler shop or something. So let's maybe imagine what his desk looks like. Cluttered spaceship workbench. Let's try cyberpunk. And then Ultra HD, 4K, aspect ratio. Put that in the hopper. Let's see what we get. And it's worth noting, like, this is for demonstration purposes, right? So I'm being very happy with what I get just to move this video along. But you could spend your whole evening on just the ship, you know, if you want to get it that specific. But just do keep in mind that there is a point of diminishing returns. It's much easier, like in my case here, where I'm using these as inspiration. So let's see. Microwave bell. And then, right, this is just great inspiration for what this guy's environment looks like. I would use any of these. Let's go with 4. So I'm gonna upscale 4. Now again, you might not like any of those, you know, if it wasn't for demonstration purposes. All right, now here's our inspiration for what this guy's set will look like. And again, you know, this is on a budget, so I wouldn't be able to afford to recreate this, but it just really helps the process, right? It's you're working in tandem with this stuff. It's not a magic button, but it's a very cool button. All right, so maybe we want a shot in our concept art to really inspire and invoke. So let's do, like, since he's our main character, let's do the old man screaming at the computer. A little more active, a little more engagement. And we'll go yelling. Maybe it'll be a little more dramatic. Microwave bell. Let's see what we got. Yeah. Right? That's good. That's good. Something's going on. We're telling a story. I think let's go with number 2. All right, so I'm going to take all this information, the ChatGPT, the text, you know, we generated a log line, a title, all that stuff, and then now I have the images to support it, and we're going to put it all together in a pitch deck. I'm on a Mac, so I use Keynote. If you're on a Microsoft, you know, PC, you can use PowerPoint. You could use Photoshop. I like using sort of PowerPoint or Keynote because pitch deck is almost like a PowerPoint presentation, right? So it just using that format helps. But again, not so much a video about how to make a pitch deck. It's incorporating all these AI tools into an idea to get a short film made. But, you know, like I keep mentioning, there's a million videos on how to make a pitch deck, right? So I'm just giving you an overview of how to incorporate all these elements together, right? A moment to moment, I don't know, there's so many videos on those things, right? The one thing though is I always, I just like fonts, so I'll go on like a free thing, like the font, and then I'll be like Sci-Fi fonts. I'll find a font I like to sort of be thematic with whatever project I'm doing. We dive in. Like I said, I use Keynote. You can use Photoshop, PowerPoint, you know, Word, probably, whatever you want. All right, so let's make our deck. Like I said, Keynote. So I got my Keynote open, and then I have my document with everything that I generated from ChatGPT, right? I have my title, my log line, beats, probably won't go into, synopsis, themes, character descriptions. All right, so we're gonna start. We need our sort of title page, our main image. I like that beer one. I think that's very interesting. So this will be our main image. I like that, it's evocative. Let's flip it. I think that's more powerful. And then let's add text. The title is The Eternal Finite. And then I downloaded a font. I like that font. Let's go for the color. Let's do a custom color. It kind of matches what we got going on. A little shadow so we can see that. Okay, so now we have our title page. Okay, next we want to do our log line. All right, so we have our log line, copy that, paste it in here. Now we want to add an evocative image to grab for the log line. I did a couple off camera, and there. Now we have an impactful log line with an image. And again, the order of these, you'll look at videos of how to put them together and other examples. This is just, I tend to do the same thing. So let's do like a synopsis. Again, copy, paste. And this is all worked from ChatGPT, right? So then we want to add an image. Let's find our manta ray. Well, let's edit that. To fill up. Adds visual interest, tells the story a little more. It's a good looking picture. So now let's get into the characters, right? So, Captain Thiago. Gotta copy and paste what I have about him. Supporting character is Captain Montgomery. And I did a workup on him. Captain Montgomery, I did off camera. And then let's find a Captain Thiago was the one that we did. Right, now we have a cast starting to come together. Okay, we have Red. We have the creature. The Aerozoan. So Red I did off camera as well, so... Right, I wonder who's gonna play that character. And then I have other pictures of the creature. This one's a little more abstract. Again, this is all just inspiration, because I like that this will filter through myself or another VFX artist, and then it becomes something else, right? But you have a point A and a point B, and something happens on the way there, right? All right, so next we're going to get into the nitty gritty. We got the theme and plot. Again, these are all just generated by ChatGPT, but it also helps theme, plot, and then maybe we'll put our desktop image there. That could be pretty cool. Let's see if we got the best piece of it. Telling a story, right? Evocative. And then last but not least, do some concept art. Let's do, definitely got to have the ship. All right, so we got our ship. Let's do our yelling. I'm just demonstrating. You can go down the rabbit hole. You could do like about a half a dozen images. And again, this is not how to make a pitch deck, but to fill it out, I'll usually do a style guide. I'll say these are sort of the films that I'm influenced by. And this is an important thing as a side note, right? So it's like, I would say I'm influenced by like 70s Russian sci-fi in the original Alien movie, right? So in my brain, I'm seeing those films, I'm looking at pictures, and then with my DP and my crew, we interpret that and we make it our own. That's what the AI is doing, but it's doing it like that. You know what I mean? But it's like, it's a tool, right? Process, it's all still the same, but it's just a tool. And it's a powerful tool. Now this, I did off camera. So I did like storyboards, and you'll see with these images in the style of, I said, right? So I said black and white images in the style of Frank Miller. And then I got these. The reason I didn't demo these is this is what I was talking about, where, you know, I had to adjust some of these in Photoshop and use them as raw images, but this is just showing you the potential. And then this is something I include in all my decks. You know, I kind of basically lay out how we're going to produce this. Then when I'm trying to pitch to people to get them to work with me and I don't have any money, I put some quotes about my work. Then they're like, oh, this guy must know what he's doing. This is what we have, right? We have our presentation. It's like, oh, what's this? This looks interesting. We got the log line. Okay. A little synopsis. Hey, what's that creature? That's interesting. Characters. We fully can see it now. We have them in front of us. More characters. What's the theme? What's the plot? In one page. Boom. With pictures. Concept art. Again, you can go deeper. So this is the one that I want to make, right? So again, it'll probably just be one more of these videos where I sort of do a deep dive into a couple props. We'll use the AI to sort of give us an idea of what those props look like, and then we'll get into the shop. And again, thanks for your patience, but these, when I do this a couple times a year, well, I'll do a handful of sort of in the office videos. But now I have this front loaded, and I'm going to start making props and costumes, and we're going to make this film. Now, if you watch this far, you're somebody who watches my videos, and I really appreciate you. So I wanted to ask you a question, because if you're somebody who watches this far, you're interested in this work. So I'm not going to do a crowdfunding for this. You know, this channel's been around for years now. I have so many like props that I've made on this channel. I was thinking about maybe doing an online auction, and then whatever money we raise from the auction is what I'll use to make this actual film. And, you know, it'll be from the early years, like blasters and things like that I made. And then that way it's not asking for donations to make a short film. It's just raising money to make that film. So again, if you watch this far, you're one of my sort of core audience people, and I'd love to know what you think about that. Put it in the comments below. But hopefully you found this interesting, and it's sort of shed light on the potential of this. There's a lot of people now like, oh, AI, it's terrible, it's going to ruin everything. I just maintain it's just another tool, and I can assure you it's not a magic button, right? It's like, well, it is a magic button if you want garbage, but it's a powerful tool. And I'm excited to make this film. I'm even working on a feature now with this. So I have lots of ideas now. And now for something new, let's kick it to my avatar.
Hey, I'm just the avatar, but you might want to check out this video, maybe that video. For sure, subscribe if you haven't, and check out the merch. Buy some merch, that really helps. But hey, what do I know? I'm just the avatar.